Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. We are here with some friends and Celeste, who is going to be leading us in exercises of gratitude, as well as expounding on it in ways that can refresh and remind us for 'tis the season. 'Tis the season, and we are grateful to have you here tonight. As many of you know, Celeste has been with MSCO and the nonprofit MSCO for over 11 years now. I guess we're on 12 or 13, I can't keep track. But she's an energy practitioner, Reiki master, and yoga of all kinds, including birthing or prenatal. Not birthing yoga. That was, and we welcome her to take over now. And welcome, Celeste. Thank you so much for being here and doing this for us.
Thank you, Dana. Hi, everybody. I truly appreciate, I'm in gratitude for being asked to talk about gratitude. And this would be the second time this year that I've actually done a topic on gratitude. And my previous talk was on from gratitude to grace. And I think that that's sort of the natural flow that occurs when we can be in places of gratitude on a regular basis, that we come into this place of grace, and not only grace for ourselves, but for grace for others. And so having a practice of gratitude is sort of essential to, at least for me, to my spiritual practice. I don't know if you all can hear my dog barking right now, but oh, good. No. Okay. And I will keep going. So I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the things that I do. I'm going to talk about some of the things that the words in of themselves represent, and some readings. And hopefully you'll come away with some new ideas or practices that'll be useful for you and your daily routines of spiritual food. So the first thing I want to talk about is, for me, whenever I'm feeling grateful or I'm doing a meditation on gratitude or a prayer for gratitude, is I finish it with saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So the 3 times for the thank you. And what that represents is an honest intentionality of being in gratitude. And it's almost like that trilogy, or that trifecta of bringing body, mind, and spirit into this space of gratitude. So if that's something that you haven't done in the past, maybe, feel that out and be mindful of the possibility of using that thank you 3 times after a meditation or after prayer. I use it for almost all of my spiritual healings and meditations and prayer on a regular basis. And that I learned many, many years ago from a spiritual minister from a church called Church of Christianity, which is not really essential to this topic, but that was where I learned that from. And I've carried that forward into all of my other practices. So the other thing that I wanted to share is the law of gratitude. So there are all kinds of spiritual laws, many, many, many spiritual laws, and it is one of them. And it is one of the laws of, let me go to that spot. I believe higher frequency. So being in gratitude is we are vibrating then at our higher frequency. And it means giving thanks from our heart. Energy flows from our heart and moves out towards others. It activates responses from other people. And then those responses activate them, and then all of that rises up to the universe. So that is basically how that that law works, is that giving and receiving of thanks through the heart. Oftentimes, when we're not in that place of gratitude, we are sitting in judgment and criticism. We're sitting in expectation. We're sitting in regret, resentment, fear. And gratitude is one of those things that can help shift us out of those places of lower vibration. And I think the hardest thing about gratitude is to use it as a way of understanding where we are right now. So an example would be is when we're in the midst of a struggle, one of the hardest things in the world to do is say, thank you, God, for allowing me to have this experience. Thank you, God, for letting, or using the word God, I want to say universe, because my God is not dual. It's not, it's expansive. It's everything. It's everything universal. It is whatever it is to you. But thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the experience or the struggle, in order to be more connected to that grace, to be more connected to your heart, to be more connected to the understanding of compassion and empathy for other people and for myself. That's not always an easy place to go, especially when it's something really, really difficult. And yet it transfers or transforms everything. There's a story about Amma. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She is an avatar from India, and she is the loving mother. She's the hugging mother. And she goes around and hugs people all over the world. That is her job. That is her role in this world. But for her to get to that role, she suffered great abuse by her family. She was abused by her parents. She was abused by her siblings. She was abused by the other servants in the home that they lived in. She was considered very much less than, simply because she was a darker color than the rest of her family. And so she was considered this lowlife, this unloved, unwashed, unwanted child. And she came to this place of, and I have to think of who she uses as her higher power. I have to look quick. Krishna. And so she said to Krishna, thank you for letting me be of service to you. Thank you for these experiences to let me be a humble child of, or servant to you. And how do you want me to show, yeah, there she is. How do you want me to show up for you in this world? And she was told to be loved. She was told to give these hugs. And so that's what she started to do. She started hugging people, and people started having this miraculous transformations as the result of her hugs. And as she became more and more well-known, she became more and more wealthy. And although that isn't her role or her goal, but she is certainly more comfortable than she was when she was growing up. And she, her family now thinks she's amazing and she's wonderful. And she loves her parents into sitting next to her and honoring them for bringing her into the world and giving her the lesson. So that is an extreme of gratitude, a very, very big extreme, but it's a good way of looking at how the possibility of being grateful can transform lives. Another thing that I also learned in my own experience of growing up in an alcoholic home and living in an experience of a family that didn't understand how to express love and didn't know how to raise somebody up. And there was, these levels of emotional and spiritual abuse that occurred in my family. And for a while, I was really pissed off. I mean, I was really, really pissed off at my parents, especially my mother, for being that kind of parent to me. And so I wanted to be cruel to her. I wanted to give retribution. I wanted her to apologize. I wanted her to see me. I wanted her to love me in a certain way. And none of those things ever happened. But I finally got to that place of understanding that that was just part of my lesson, and that I could be grateful to her for some other things that she did give me, instead of just focusing on the things that she didn't give me. So she did give me life, and she did teach me how to clean a house, and she did teach me to respect life. She taught me how a person, I might not have believed the same way she did in faith, but she taught me how to be in faith. That makes sense. So if I can focus on those things, I can be in gratitude to her and to my dad, rather than to be in anger and resentment. So just these little different ways of looking at at my life, even when they seem negative, and not at all what I would expect or want to have happen, to be in gratitude for that experience in order to learn and become the kind of person that I'm meant to be. So those are just some examples of how gratitude can transform a situation from one thing to the next. I have another reading from Richard Rohr. I believe this is from his book, Breathing Underwater. As the body can fail its purpose for lack of nourishment, so can the soul. We all need the light of God's reality, or higher power's reality, the nourishment of higher power's strength, and the atmosphere of higher power's grace. And those are the things that we get from gratitude, is the nourishment of strength, being in the light of reality. We talked about that last night in a group about, this is what our reality is right now. Can we sit in the grace of that and be grateful? And then the whole atmosphere changes from negativity into grace. It's pretty amazing. So what are some of the ways that I get to gratitude? And one of them is meditation, and we'll do a meditation towards the end of this talk on gratitude. And what that does is it can emotionally move me from being in stress, being in anger, being in anxiety, into a place of relax and release and presence, connection to my body, my mind, and my spirit. And so meditation often will help me a lot to get to a place of being calm enough to feel the effects of gratitude. The other thing that I do is search for my higher power's will rather than my own will. And that's not always easy either, because I love to be in charge of everything. And so when I do that, I always have to remember to ask if it's thy will, qualify it, because, and Dana uses this a lot too. You talk about for the greatest good with harm to none. And to me, that is the will of something bigger than me. That is nothing to do with what's coming from me. It's coming from something bigger and brighter and more energetic than I will ever be able to achieve as a human on this earth. And so I go there. I go, okay, what is this will? What is the next thing that I can do right and help guide me along that path? So those are other ways that I am able to remind myself to be in the flow of that positive energy. So yeah, finding higher power's will rather than my own. Praying is probably that place that helps me get there. And so for some people, prayer and meditation are the same. For me, they're a little bit different, because prayers is more conversation. And for me, meditation is listening. And listening is probably more important than having the conversation, but I still put the prayer out there to help me listen better. And so that helps me a lot. I have lots of spiritual readings that I use, and I'm going to use another spiritual reading that is actually, I'm taking from a 12-step program called Alcoholics Anonymous. And there's a book called As Bill Sees It. And I personally believe that Bill W. Downloaded all of this stuff at some point in his life and then shared it with the world. And it's a pretty amazing thing. But a full and thankful heart. One exercise that I practice is to try for a full inventory of my blessings, and then for a right acceptance of the many gifts that are mine, both temporal and spiritual. Here I try to achieve a state of joyful gratitude. When such a brand of gratitude is repeatedly affirmed and pondered, it can finally displace the natural tendency to congratulate myself on whatever progress I may have been able to make in some areas of living. I try hard to hold fast to the truth that a full and thankful heart cannot entertain great conceits. When brimming with gratitude, one's heartbeat must surely result in outgoing love, the finest emotion that we can ever know. And I think that's my favorite part, is when brimming with gratitude, one's heartbeat must surely result in outgoing love, the finest emotion that we can ever know. I recently had my husband come up to me, and I've been married for 45 years, known this man for 46 years, and every now and then he will feel unappreciated by me. And I guess that is not unexpected with people who've been married for a long time. And he shared that fact with me, of that sometimes he goes, I'm a really good husband, and sometimes I don't feel like you really appreciate some of the things that I do. And then he listed a couple of things that he had thought maybe I should have noticed. And I sat there for a minute. And in the past, early in our marriage, I might have been really offended and really angry and really hurt by that comment. And in the progression of both my learning about how to be in gratitude and also being married for 45 years, as I looked at him and I said, we both could do better. Said, I think that it's really easy for couples to take each other for granted. And there are a lot of things that I do that I also feel underappreciated for. I'm not deflecting here, and I will try to do better. And so I've been trying to do better, and just to thank him for just, whatever I see, or to bring him a cup of coffee, or whatever it is. Those are appreciations and gratitude. And the cool thing is I don't expect anything in return. And I feel really good about doing it. And so it has that give and receive component to it also, of when we thank others and give appreciation for the way they show up in our lives, is spiritual food for us and for them. And that's also a beautiful gift of gratitude. There are some goddesses and gods of the past who also were spirits of gratitude, and one of them was Hathor. She was the goddess of Egypt. And then there was the Gracies, I think, or the Graces, or Charities, they called them. One of those goddesses was Euphrosyne, I think is her name. And they also did the same thing. And they were gods and goddesses that reflected the gratitude of the air, the gratitude of the earth, having enough food. Food is a big one, from those old mythologies. We forget to be grateful for our food. A lot of religious practices, say grace over their food. I will thank, the food when I receive my food for having been grown, for the people that grew it, for the people that wash it, that the people packaged it, just little things that I run through my head before I eat. And so again, being grateful for that giving and receiving of nourishment. There's just so many areas of our lives that we can be grateful for. The water that we drink, what a gift. And just being in that practice creates these shifts of being able to move into these places of grace, instead of these places of neediness, expectation, anger, resentment. Attachment's a big one. So the thing that led me down this road into a bigger spiritual practice and into the thank yous was probably about 13 years ago. And at that time, I was doing a workshop on something called Keys to the Kingdom. And there are many different, there are many different stories about the Keys to the Kingdom. But this particular workshop that I was doing asked me to do a meditation. And at the time, I wasn't very good at meditating. I didn't really understand it. I wasn't listening at all. And was really beginning to learn about myself. And so the meditation was to go and have the intention of understanding what it is that I am meant to do in the world. To me, that seemed huge. I was like, whoa, that, who am I to ask what am I supposed to be doing in the world that's going to make a difference? Because I had grown up in this place of not enoughness, in this place of you are nothing, you are not much, you're a failure, So to come into a meditation intentionally looking at what is it that I'm supposed to be serving in this world to do was not in my usual place of comfort. But I did it anyway because I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. I wanted to be who I was meant to be. And one of my lessons in this earth was to have addiction problems, to be alcoholic, and to have and be in gratitude of that illness and finding sobriety and becoming the person that I was meant to be. It was just part of one of my lessons. And instead of living in shame and embarrassment and less than about that, I've allowed it to be the thing that has pushed me forward in my spiritual path. So anyway, so I did this meditation. And every day when I attend 12-step meetings, and when I introduce myself, I say, I am a grateful person in recovery. I'm a grateful alcoholic. I am grateful for all of you. I am grateful for, and boy, that word shows up a lot in all of that space of my life. So I was doing my meditation, and one of the things that came in really strongly was that I needed to stop trying to control outcomes, that things didn't have to be a specific way, to trust in the process, to trust in something, to the messages and things that I would hear that were going to lead me on that path. And so a couple of things that came through was one, that I was going to be a healer. And so of course my original thought was, well, healer means nurse or doctor. And at the time I was 45 or something, maybe a little bit older. And so I was going to go back to school. I'm going to be a nurse. So this is what I'm coming out with this meditation. And I hear this, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. And I was like, well, then how can I be a healer? I have no clue. Can't be a healer unless you're a nurse or you're a doctor or an x-ray tech or something, you know? And so then I heard, you'll be a healer through creativity. You'll be a creator through energy. And you will be a creator through listening, or a healer through listening. And I was like, whoa, okay. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I wrote it down. I put it in my book. And then the second thing that came in was teacher. And of course, the first thing you do is, oh, I'm going to go to school and be a teacher. And again, I'm over 45 years old. No. Teachers come in all different ways. And so I wrote that down and went back to the workshop, and everyone was like, okay, you've got this in your book. This is for the next year. See what unfolds. Be present for it. Be in gratitude for it. Be thankful for the messages you've been given. And I did. And it manifested itself in ways that I could never have imagined. You know, in that year, I learned how to make jewelry. So I found creativity. And in the creativity of making jewelry, I began to teach other people how to make jewelry. And in teaching the other people how to make jewelry, all of a sudden, the women and the men that are in the rooms are telling me things about their lives that I'm like, why are you telling me this? You know, it was in a jewelry class, we're making jewelry together, and you're telling me this story. And all I had to do was listen. And the people would leave and they would say, I feel so much better since I've been here. And they would come back for that reason. I was not in charge of any of that, but I was so grateful and I was so happy, and I was having the time of my life. So, you know, that's just one example of stepping into this place of energy and this place of being open to something that I don't fully understand, and then being grateful for whatever the message is, and then letting it unfold. Became a yoga instructor. I learned about Reiki, have become, you know, a Reiki master. I teach Reiki. I teach yoga. I teach other people in recovery how to be other spiritual energy healers on this earth. And it's an amazing and a beautiful thing as a result of finding that grace in gratitude. Let's see. There was a couple of other things. I have no idea what time it is. Watch my time. There's another little reading from Richard Rohr.
It's a 22. You have plenty of time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do our meditation too.
Yep.
The grace, God's light shining through me. So my first response to this call is simply to heed it and remain open to divine grace. And I truly believe that in that experience that happened by heeding that first response, by listening, and then following through. And the more often that I do that, the more my life unfolds in positive and healing ways, truly, very, very truly. I recently went through a really kind of rough year with some family stuff, and I have some wonderful people in my life. Dana, you know, you're one of those people, and a couple of other people that I was able to talk about my fear, to talk about my my anger, to talk about my resentment, to talk about my difficulty understanding. And I would be redirected all the time to letting go, to, do you want to stay stuck here? Do you want to move into forgiveness? Do you want to be in love? Do you want to, you know, and so grateful for these people to remind me where and who I am rather than the experience that I was having. And what happened with that is I grew another, leap into another, in many ways, into more of my own mediumship, into more of my own healing. It's been unfolding, especially the last couple of months, and it actually creates space for me to focus on that rather than what I was doing before. So grateful for that, grateful for having to go through the pain of it. And the pain will continue. But I can transmute it if I wish. I have that ability. So another thing that I want to share is about that transformation. There's a lot of prayers that are similar to this out there also. Like the St. Francis prayer is one of them. But this one says, I extend grace when I listen instead of speak, forgive instead of condemn, and give instead of take. Grace is a gift I give again and again. And gratitude is also a gift that is given to me again and again. So yeah, those are just little tiny bits of what I can share about how gratitude can transform your life, how much that I am able to use it every day in my life to make a difference in how I show up and the kind of person that I become. And when I don't have to be in charge of, of changing other people's attitudes or changing the world and not controlling the outcome, I can be better in a place of love, and that equals grace. So, yeah, I think that's mostly, I could say a ton more stuff, but I think that's good. I don't know if anyone has any questions before we do our meditation or anything that they want to share that has happened for them by being grateful.
I love that. Many of you know gratitude changed my whole life, because I believe it's impossible to be in a game and feel gratitude. And so that was how I got out of being a martyr, not knowing anything other than a martyr or what it might look like to go on, a time for me to build that up consecutively so that I was in it, more than I wasn't in it, but it did work. And my life has changed completely, and I'm so grateful for it. It's like the more you feel grateful, the more you'll have to feel grateful for. And I just love it. And especially now, I feel like we're in the narrows, and I know getting through the narrows can be with grace and ease, or it can be hell and torment. And by being grateful, it's feeling grateful, even if it's for the color of the yellow flower you have in your mind, can totally, move through that space and so much joy rather than anything else that could happen, because it's impossible to feel righteous and feel grateful. It's impossible to be in blame and feel grateful. It's impossible to, be in any of the games. So I'm so grateful for this tonight and to hear your experiences and to know you a little better. It's just, you always are so generous and kind and loving with your sharing. Thank you, Celeste, for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does this begin at 7 or 7:30?
7, I think, for you.
Ah, okay. I'm always confused. I'm sorry, then I was late. Always. Some begin at 7. Some Zooms begin at 7:30, others at 8. And anyway, well, I'm sorry. Okay, being grateful. Yes, I am grateful too. The more I grow in age, the better grateful I become, I guess. I've always been grateful anyway about things, even when the life was very hard and bad. And indeed, especially about food. One thing that stir me a lot is starvation in the world. So when I have in front of a nice food, I do have some type of a grateful prayer that I say inside, not necessarily outside. You know, people, they don't pray anymore. But inside myself, I have this special prayer that I had learned and recite, you know. And so this is it, yes. And I'm grateful for every morning now. It wasn't always the case in my life, but now, yes, at the age that I am, that I'm still alive, pretty much healthy. You know, my mother died at 51. I'll be 78. So can you imagine the gift that I got outliving what she had, you know? So yes, it was a very nice topic tonight that you brought. So I thank you for at least what I heard about it. And it's nice to discover you more as well.
Hi, it's Erin. I'm going to piggyback on Carol because one of the ways, you know, it's easy to get frustrated and kind of lose touch with some gratitude. And one of the ways, like my family does gratitude, is every single meal. We always say grace. And it's transformed a little. As a matter of fact, my son is upset because I've started saying God got us all that is instead of what we always said. And he's like, Mom, we never said that. And I'm like, well, I was thinking it, so now it's coming out of my mouth. But you know, I thank him for my pets. Sorry. I just, whatever I think of while we're doing this grace before eating, I'll just throw it in there. But yeah, I think a gratitude, sort of like an open-hearted gratitude, I think is what I'm hearing you say, Celeste, that you're like open to whatever there is to be grateful for. And sometimes you don't have to search that hard. You're just maybe having busy brain in a different direction. So I'm grateful for this evening as well. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to share? No? Okay.
I'm grateful for my pets too. They do enrich your life. And I saw a black kitty cat behind you, Dana. I didn't know you had a kitty as well.
Sweetheart is her name.
Mm.
She's a love bug for sure. All right, our meditation then.
All right, our meditation. So this will be a meditation on gratitude, and it's sort of a spin-off from the metta meditation, loving kindness meditation, if any of you have ever done that meditation. So you'll hear some familiarity in it as we start to meditate. But to start out, let's get comfortable in our chairs. And if you want to be grounded in whatever way works best for you, if it's feet grounded on the floor, if you want to lie down and be connected through your back, whatever is calling to you for grounding in this moment. And then if you're comfortable with closing the eyes, you can, or set a spot to focus on in front of you that's not moving, to let the softening around the eyes focus in the direction of that drishti. And then gently bring your attention to the flow of air through your nose. Becoming aware of the quality of that breath. It may be cool, it may be warm, it may be soft, it may be harsh. Just noticing that quality and knowing that the breath is always there for you anytime you find your mind wandering, or if you're distracted by outside sounds or discomfort in the body, just come back to the breath. So let's just begin this meditation of gratitude by just noticing something simple that you're experiencing in this moment. So it might be the air on your skin, or the softness of your sweater, or the ease of the breath. Whatever it is, just take a moment to pay attention to that. Focus on that. And just find some wonder in that feeling, in that experiencing. The wonder of being able to feel that air, or to be warm in your cozy little chair. Or having this pause in a usually busy life. And now maybe take a moment to focus on one thing in this moment. And it might be that simple moment is that thing. Or maybe it's your chair, or the sound of family behind you. Or the reaching out of a cattail. And appreciate that in this moment. And allow it to fill your body and your mind. Then reflect on someone you don't know very well. Maybe the person who stacks the fruit at the grocery store, or an author of the book that you're reading right now, or the postman or the UPS guy or girl. And being grateful for what they bring to the table in our lives, or in your life, in such a neutral way. And how you benefit from the gift of their work. And then bring to mind the tools that you use in your life that support your work. Maybe it's the massage table, or the crystal, the cooking pot, the vacuum cleaner. Consider all that they are needed for, that they were created for, to support us in the work that we do. and being grateful for how they have benefited you in your work and in your survival. And then maybe having appreciation for having the access to these tools. Live in a country that we have almost unlimited access. And now, of course, bring to mind the people who you work with. Maybe a particular person whose work directly supports you in your life and the work that you do. And being grateful for what they bring. Appreciate their contributions, their intentions. Give them that thank you, thank you, thank you. Think of what you appreciate most about them, your experiences together, the impact that they've had on your life. Thank them for being who they are. And then imagine them receiving your gratitude. Imagine them feeling your gratitude. And now bring to mind something that you're grateful for today. Something that's made a difference for you. Maybe it was a smile from someone in the street or someone with kind words. Allow yourself to rest in this experience of gratitude. And the more we practice, maybe we find gratitude for difficult or unpleasant experiences also. If you want to bring to mind something that challenges you, and find gratitude in that and what it has to offer. And then expand this feeling of gratitude to your body and to your mind. Gratitude for just being alive in this moment. The opportunity to pause and experience this very practice of gratitude. And just take a moment to thank all of the people, to all that is around you and part of you, for all that you've experienced in your life. For all of this, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And then just gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Back to this moment. Being fully alive in this moment. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And back into awareness where you are right now.
That was beautiful, Celeste. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And we will be back next month with Carol, who will be talking about the tarot.
Oh, yay.
Yes. So wishing you happy holy days until then, and the thankful and gratitude we have moving forward.
Wasn't it your birthday today?
Yes, it is.
I put it, I don't see it on the Facebook. I put it there late
I
though, but I don't